Good morning, Renan. We are live. We are Zach and Renan, and we are always irresponsibly long. How are you this morning, Renan?
Doing great, Zach. Lots to talk about.
Always, I could never stop talking about crypto. I'm excited to see a little bit of a just like a bottom shelf having formed. It seems to me. I don't think it's going to be all up from here, and of course, anything today and always is for entertainment purposes only, not financial advice. But if I were in the market, I would be completely long, and I am, and we're happy to share those.
I would be irresponsibly long.
Irresponsible not to be, and we're happy to talk about what we're doing and why, and hope you can learn a little bit, and also happy to always answer questions and look into other projects for you.
Zach, we can be irresponsibly long in crypto by being responsible too, right? I mean, it's not like we don't do any kind of stable coin farming.
Well, this stuff's pretty risky, right? So I think we need to point out there's more ways to lose money in crypto than there are to make money. So we're going to talk about developing strategies where you can make money, and we want to try to help you make those good decisions. But do the work, because if you just jump in without that, it's going to hurt, and it's going to hurt bad. And we can tell you about some of those stories too.
That's right.
Because we tried. I know I really want to talk about Dissenter again today. There's so much going on there, and I really want to dive into that. For anybody who's just looking the first time, we are not at this point. We've not been paid by anybody to promote anything, but we both do hold Dissenter token, DEC, DEC, Delta Echo Charlie on Uniswap, Dissenter.net, and they make the arguably most secure and private web browser in the world ever made, and it's browse to earn. There's no ads. It's great for the user, and they have a whole bunch of utility coming down the pipe in the next couple of months, and I couldn't be more excited. And while ETH and BIT had been sliding and sitting, because of the results that Dissenter is putting up with record all-time high new browser users, and in part thanks to some marketing efforts going on in January, and the numbers are just getting better. It seems like they doubled the rewards this week to 200,000 DEC tokens per month, from 100,000. So double the rewards pool, making sure that everybody stays motivated to keep on signing on. Here's their website. Easily download one of their browser versions: Windows, Mac, Linux. These are all browse to earn right now. They also have an Android beta, so that does not yet have a full release wallet. So if you're waiting for browse to earn, Android just a little bit longer. They're hoping to have that done in February. But for now, you can get started with any of the desktop browsers and get paid in DEC right now for your value on chain.
And so, Zach, I mean, what drew you to this project was when I showed it to you initially, and I explained that this was basically the only competitor to Basic Attention Token, which has a market cap that's 100x or more that of Dissenter. That's kind of what started you down the rabbit hole and getting invested into Dissenter.
Well, yeah. Like, why was Dissenter priced where it was? How far were they? The more I learn, the more excited I get. Rich James is just the absolute visionary. His papers, his writing about the topic of creating this economy idea are just incredible. But what it really, what it boils down to is the tech is there. Nikita's been working for a year and a half with a team of 18 strong, and they're putting out the tech. I mean, just last week, they upgraded the mainnet to Cosmos IBC. Couple weeks before that, they had released the first Android beta browser. They just released another version of that. Total new lightweight. In fact, based on Mozilla, the Chrome mobile browser was absolutely loaded with API calls and things to slow it down and made it much harder to work with. So they went to a new lighter code base. They're working on integrating the wallet now. We're working on the partnership with Dr. Jamie Wood at Mount Sinai at the ARC, and they plan to beta test the Dissenter browser, the enterprise version that they're calling HARP, Harpocrates, God of Silence and Privacy. So that's very, very fitting. And these partnerships are in place. I mean, I talked to Dr. Wood last week. I mean, he's ready to go. We need to do very little changes to the code base. We're talking like front end tweaks so that they can use the D-Hub as an intranet rather than a shared, internet copy of the D-Hub where all users are sharing their data. They want to share their research and communication internally. And it's a very, very small change to the product, and they're ready to test. So there's just so much going on, right?
So there's a lot going on with Dissenter, right?
Look at did I show you the browsers, the users? Look at this. Okay. All right. Now I started working with these guys right around Christmas, right back in here. Took a few weeks to get to know everybody, figure out what we were going to do. Got working with Tech Hustler. He got his video out. I mean, just look at this progress. I mean, this chart is turning absolutely vertical. I mean, if you look back at the beginning of the month, they were down, down close to 7,000. So we're more than double the users, and we're growing at a faster rate than they've ever grown. All-time high. Look at 1,139 users a day. We get up to 2,500, 3,000. We're getting close to 1 million users a year, right? I mean, we were talking about that a few weeks ago. Like, when is it going to take us to get to 1 million users a year rate, so we know we're going to hit it this year? I mean, look at this.
And wait, and so how many users does Basic Attention Token have? Do you know off the top of your head?
Yeah, I've retweeted. It's about 50 million, I believe is the number right now. But they've been growing, super nicely, and their valuation is ranges between 1 to 2 billion. And so if we can, show that curve and the adoption of the browser, then we have so many different revenue streams. We have the enterprise revenue stream for the GDPR HIPAA browser. We have freemium features with the browser, like adding to the free browser, adding a better VPN, adding other services, letting people browse to earn, and then use their earnings to get something they want, getting the best browser without any ads. And that's what I really love about Dissenter is, we were talking about doing things with ad revenue, and can't say they'll never have revenue from advertisers, but they're not looking to do it the same way. They're not just looking to shove, ads in front of everyone and put back what they just took away to improve the user experience. They're really set on that. And I've embraced that and thinking, what we really want to do is sell expensive, site licenses, professional services, professional blockchain services to corporate clients because of the technology that we've built, because it's worth that much. And then we're also going to be giving away a version to the general public, to the browser users, to the Android users, and giving them the power over their data. So instead of using everyone's data to make money for the marketing machine of Google and Facebook Meta, now we're completely turning it upside down. The companies that are collecting the data are paying to create the tech, and the people with the data who are creating the value, those are the folks getting the benefit. I mean, it just makes so much more sense. It's just turning everything completely around.
Yeah.
And against ETH, I mean, DEC is up, 40 to 50% against ETH over the last, 7 to 10 days. It's just been continuing to improve. And I've not seen much in the overall market at all that's done that. And it's because of the results. I mean, when you look at these users, in fact, this chart here, it was a little bit taller. The number had to get bigger on top. It reformatted itself because it's getting so freaking tall so fast. So, I mean, come on. I mean, it just doesn't get much more exciting than that. And I'm super bullish. I mean,
you're excited and bullish.
By the way, they've already firmed up 4 marketers for February. They only worked with Tech Hustler in January, and of course it was announced, when he put his video out, that it was a paid spot, that we wanted him to review the project. Also, his users had asked him to review it, so it was something that he was really looking to do, and it looks like it's going to close out as one of his most successful videos of January. He's got a couple. There was one about helium, I think, had a few more views. Helium's been out for a while. A lot of people know about helium. Certainly we do. But other than a couple of other videos, this dissenter video was his biggest of the month and is currently sitting at like 28,000 views in about half as many days. So it's just absolutely rocking, and people are loving it. It's working. People love the browser. So
yeah, well, good. All right, let's move on to our next topic today.
NFTs.
All right, should we do a quick look at the market first?
Yes, please.
All right, there we go. All right, so here's this
doesn't look like NFTs. This is Bitcoin.
Well, Bitcoin, because of course Bitcoin, drives the narrative of the market overall. So this is just the Bitcoin. Let's look at the Bitcoin dominance chart. So I've tracked this, and looking back, from the different time periods here, we have 71 days, right, from the low, which was May 19th.
But now you're going way back to when China first messed up the market, right? Everything ran up, everything crapped back out. Right. Then we had the big downturn over the summer, right?
Right. Well, so this was So this was May, right? May 20th, the low here in the Bitcoin dominance, to a high over here of July 19th. So that was 71 days, right? And if we look at May 19th to July 31st, and if we look at Bitcoin from May 19th, about right here, right, this low, to July 31st, we said.
So what is this telling us about NFTs, Renan? So when you're looking at this dominance, tell me how this plays in.
Well, nothing about NFTs just yet. We're just looking at, during that time right here, right? Because it's important to understand Bitcoin dominance. So here, Bitcoin dominance went up, right, from this low to here in 71 days. What happened to Bitcoin price when that actually happened? Well, a little bit. I mean, actually it trended down. So contrary to the trend of the Bitcoin dominance, which meant what? Well, Bitcoin dominance is going up, right? And the coins or the Bitcoin chart is going down, right? What's happening to alts?
What is happening to alts, Renan? Fill us in.
Well, I mean, that's the tricky part. It's not always the same, right? Here we look at what happened here is everything went down, right? But most likely alts went down further, right? Because Bitcoin dominance was going up. So if Bitcoin dominance was going up while Bitcoin was going down, you can only assume that alts were going down further.
Yes, absolutely right. If Bitcoin's going down 50%, alts are going down 90%.
Well, especially
okay. Now I'm finally following you. So tell me what this means.
Okay. Well, what it means again. Here we're just looking at 71 days, 43 days. Okay, without comparing the price of each one. Here we've had 87 days from the high of October to this low in the Bitcoin dominance.
I remember we looked at that. We looked at that on a prior call and said it was about that 2 to 3 month range, that we were about 2 months into the current winter. This is going back to a little bit earlier in the month when things were really dumping. And we said at that time, another 3 to 4 weeks, get us into the middle of February. We'll probably have seen that the bottom we've proven that the bottom is there, right? Because it'll created the shelf. We'll bounce around the shelf for a while, and then we'll hopefully steadily, not parabolically, climb out, because otherwise it's a lot more risky. I'd much rather see a stair step to have a real nice foundation and lots of support levels.
Now, I think there's a real possibility here that, we haven't broken out of this downtrend.
Nope.
What
It
we
could keep
want to
going.
see,
It could go down.
what we want to see is ideally, right, a break of this downtrend, a retest, and for it to hold that retest for us to be able to go back up. If you look at kind of the velocity of how things are happening, we're not looking for that to happen probably for, or for it to happen over the course of a month, right? Assuming we have a little up, break of this downtrend, a retest down here. Only problem is, right, the further out this goes, this retest could end up, and this is what I think will happen if, depending on the overall macroeconomic condition, that this retest will make this downtrend Fibonacci retracement hit its extension here at 618, which actually coincides with perfectly.
Okay.
Low.
What? Okay. Are we trying to pick? I don't want to try to pick when this is going to happen.
No.
I want to try to reduce the risk in what we predict will happen next. And what we are seeing is that if we look at the past timeframes, we could say we're probably getting towards the end of this downward cycle if history is a guide. Most likely, what follows a tailwind? A headwind. What follows a headwind? A tailwind. What follows good weather? Bad weather, right? So we know, and I love red candle days, right? They give me the giggles because the worse it gets, the better it's going to be. So to me, and I thought this several weeks ago, which is why I have been accumulating and making my altcoin positions during this downward time and shuffling them, is I want to be in place. I don't know when they're going to move, but I know that when they move, if I try to guess the timing of that, I know I'm going to lose. I don't want to be a trader, per se. We're not trying to time the market like a trader. I think that's a terrible strategy. A few people can do it. They're really, really good at what they do, and most people can't. And that's because it's really hard and it takes a lot of time and effort. So what I would say is, it does look to me like we're bottoming now. NFTs on the flip side, Renan, have really run in December and January, and a lot of them have pumped really hard. The Bored Apes pumped from 30 ETH in September to 100 ETH. The Mutant Apes pumped from 4 ETH, as I know very well because I sold it then, up to over 20 ETH. And we've seen other projects like for example, Sappy Seals is pumped to 1.3. We saw Cool Cats late last quarter pumping up. So I think Lazy Lions are going to move. We've talked about Sneaky Vampire Syndicate, which moved as we predicted. The Bats moved as we predicted. The Vampiresses are coming out. More utility is coming out. And Zeneca, right? We looked at some of those NFTs and we looked at memberships and talked about NFT Llama, Llamaverse, and Zeneca, Zen Academy NFTs, and why these memberships are valuable and will continue to go up. But I am worried about the broader NFT market. Just knowing how hard some NFT projects have pumped. There's been a lot of hype, this hype with, of course, Paris Hilton and Jimmy Fallon, comparing their Bored Apes. And then of course, Bieber gets in, Bieber can't be shown up by Paris Hilton, I guess. And so he finally aped in and paid an absolute crap ton. I think it's just funny because, all this really is now that it's a cash out for the techies. The techies are getting a cash out to the celebrities. So good on them for getting in early. But what's next, right? What can we be early to the party on next, and what's it going to do? So I am worried about
but
NFTs.
To finish this, so before we go on NFTs, to finish this, right? We had from the low of July here on Bitcoin to the high, we've had 113 days with 2 retracements, or 1 retracement midway, right, on this uptrend. Here we've been in a pretty steady downtrend now for 75 days, right? I think we could, right, to my thesis, have a breakout of this downtrend, right? Get to this 42 area, maybe even this 46 area. And if we get past this, we definitely want to see this retracement hold, right? And then head back up. If it doesn't, then again, based on the overall macroeconomic condition, this extension is what I'm looking at. This would be a massive buy signal if we ever come close to this level again. All right.
Right.
Moving on.
But either way, the point I would argue, we're either at the bottom, near the bottom? You know, do you want to try to get it? Nobody can, you can't just say like, oh, I only want to buy at the bottom, right? So if you were not in Bitcoin right now, you were all in cash, you know, it would seem to me that you would say, well, why don't you average in over the next, what, like 30 days or something, see how it goes? Because I mean, chances are we're going to see the U-turn in that time frame. You know, but it could go further, right? So I guess point being, don't go all in this second. If
right,
you're
and if we look at Ethereum right here, right, we have this downtrend. I mean, look at how perfectly that extension was hit. Right. So, but now that it hit, right, do we continue this downtrend or do we?
But see, ETH has. But see, now we're talking about Ethereum. Ethereum has utility.
Well, Ethereum has utility, right?
I mean, Ethereum can't just infinitely go down because every dollar Ethereum goes down, NFTs get cheaper. Yes, some people will raise the prices in ETH when ETH goes down, but it takes time. And that's because whatever they were priced at the day before, now it's on sale. It's incentivized people to buy. And so ETH has this built-in boomerang effect that the further it pushes down, the more pressure there is for the price to go back up because of NFTs. And so, you know, I realize that Ethereum seems to be following Bitcoin. I think that's kind of dumb. I think that we're going to see Bitcoin following the overall market and Ethereum following Bitcoin and then alts following Ethereum. We're going to see that start to break down. We saw it break down with Dissenter, right? We saw it this month. We saw Dissenter move upwards 50% while ETH, you know, sat on its hands. So I think we're going to see that across the market after these corrections. You think it always comes back to Dissenter, right? But
yeah, let's not go back there.
Well, hey, it's a 10 million cap and it should be $1 billion. But anyways, okay. I'll move on to NFTs so, as you wish.
Here's a good little site. There are tons of these. I like this one, NFT scoring. It's just because I was tracking and I am tracking these on a spreadsheet that I manage and put together, right, to track dates and. You
know, I have a question for you about that. On that tracking, what do the Rabbitars look like, the Playboy Rabbitars? Because it seems to me like we've definitely seen some.
Well, I haven't looked at the Rabbitars. This is this is where I'm tracking early stage projects, pre-mint, right, and then as they mint and get to post mint, then have some basic tracking that's pulling in data right here. Just so I can look at it daily in one place and just scan. But you know, this website here does a great job of doing that. And what it does is it looks at the Twitter followers, the growth, right? The whales following. You know, I don't know where they're pulling their metrics from, but it's a lot of what I'm trying to track. Except that this
can we look at the Rabbitars in here?
No.
Oh, I see. You have to look.
We're not going to look at the Rabbitars, Zach, just because you want to.
I do. Well, here's why.
You can look at the Rabbitars on Nansen if you want. Okay. This is just a cool little website to track when things are minting. Of course, always double check to make sure that they got their dates right. But there's some interesting mints coming up. Invisible Friends, obviously, good luck getting into that whitelist. You had to own 4 Slim Hoods, and actually, I tweeted about this the other day. If you own 4 Slim Hoods, you had an automatic whitelist. Well, what do you think Slim Hoods have done since they had announced that?
Probably pretty nice looking, eh?
Yeah, they've gone up. They're at 2.5 ETH, I think now is the floor. So they, from December 25th on, just kind of like the overall market. But when you see a project like Invisible Friends, it's super hyped that everyone's trying to get in on, and they announced that a certain collection, ownership of a certain collection, and in this case, you had to have 4 of that collection. And there was another one, I forget the name of it, but that gave you an automatic whitelist. You can be sure that those collections are going to start going up in price pretty significantly. And we actually saw it recently for the Magic Mushroom Clubhouse with the Brett Way, from Brett, when he announced this NFT Elite NFT Academy, which was going to mint at 0.5 ETH, which it did last week. And you had to have a Magic Mushroom Clubhouse NFT in order to be able to mint. And that did well off of it did 100% or over 100%. I think it minted for 0.5 and then went as high as 1.3 ETH. I think it's settling down around 1 ETH right now. So that's an example. That's a second example of buying into collections that have announced that ownership of that will grant you access or whitelist to another one. Like
Well,
Invisible
I would
Friend.
say, there's different strategies in NFTs.
Of
One
course.
strategy, right? And so when you see something like that, if you catch the news early and you're looking for a quick flip, the chances are you're going to be able to sell. But then if you wait too long and you wait till after the event, for instance, On-Chain Monkeys is snapping their dessert snapshot today, right?
Yep.
So after that, it's probably not going to hold the 135 floor. I mean, it just makes sense.
Oh.
It makes sense that there's a pump there. Now, I think OCM is going to be a great project long term. And if you bought it, right after mint for 0.3 and you held on to it, or 0.2, you're doing just fine. But if you want to buy it right now on the pump and expect that you're going to be able to sell it in a month or two, you got another thing coming. It may very well not, because a lot of that value is going to transfer into the Gen 2, into the whatever they're going to be dropping to their user base. So I think if you're looking for something that can be if you want a great possible blue chip, buy an On-Chain Monkey. Don't expect to sell it anytime soon.
The price retraces some after this snapshot.
Exactly. It might,
which I think happened yesterday, actually. Well, either today or yesterday. Anyway,
well,
okay, so let's take a look at
Curios is the same way. I feel like Curio cards are going to come around, and that's one of the projects where I can't predict the timing of it, but I can tell you that they're too cheap. Being able to buy a Mona Lisa number 8 for 0.75 ETH, when they were 2 ETH or 3 ETH back in August, when ETH was at a similar price, tells me that these old 2017 NFTs are going to have more value, because people will find out, people are going to ask, the newcomers in NFTs are going to ask, what are the old NFTs? And I agree, we need to be looking at new projects, but it's so hard. I know that, as I argue, unless somebody does what you do, which is spend all day looking at NFT projects, it's really hard to pick out a new mint that's worth its salt, that you can have reasonably low risk on.
Well, getting on a whitelist on a hype project eliminates pretty much all the risk, short of the contract getting hacked, right? But like if you were on the whitelist and mint Invisible Friends, you won the lottery, right? Just like we did with Metaverse, right?
Yep.
Just like, any Raid Party, my goodness, Raid Party.
And so what's your metrics to know that they're so great? Is it their number of followers that they've built up? Like, so a Metaverse or these Invisible Friends, what's common when you look at a project like that? So you can find, somebody looks at this video of us talking in a month, who cares, right? Everything we're talking about's changed. But how do you find a project like that? What are you looking for?
So Twitter, of course, is the best place to start, honestly, because you can look at all the drop calendars, and all you're looking at on those drop calendars is pictures, and then you have to go into each one, and then to read about it. And honestly, some with awesome art. You look through all those drop calendars, there are projects with really awesome looking art, and they completely flop on mint, right? So it's not just the art. If anything, it's really not the art at all. Some of our best NFTs are these membership NFTs, which are not art related, at least not now, right?
It's the team. It's the team.
The Yama Boost is not but we are going to get now these these actually Yamas, and there's Yamaverse, and so I think those will be interesting. But what you look for is, I start on Twitter and I look for, I track different Twitter profiles and see what they're following, and try to catch insiders. The insiders to the NFT space, really figure out what they're tracking, what they're following as early as possible, and then get on that, put those on your radar. And, which is kind of what I've done here. So all these ones, Pixelverse, Generative Dungeons, I think is going to be a really interesting one to mint here in just a couple of days. I haven't wrapped my head around exactly what this project is, what this NFT project is, but it's a game. Each NFT is its own game, and all I know is that I listened to the AMA on Sneaky Vampire the other night, and they were really pumped about it, explaining just the depth and the levels that this NFT had. So something really worth looking into. Beings is minting, pre-sale minted already. Public sale was minting today. The floor has dropped. It was at, oh wow, no, it was as low as 0.2 an hour ago. So it has bounced some. It was 0.4 yesterday, 0.2 an hour ago, 0.33 now, which I kind of thought would happen, right? It just, I don't know why it dropped, to such a low level, relatively speaking, right? But I think we're due for a bounce, especially with public mint and pre-reveal. Hype Bears, this is going to be a pretty huge one, but I think that's coming out in March. Let's see.
So if I wanted to be involved with these projects, do I need to be in an alpha group and go into whitelist contests, or like what would I have to do to be involved with this? Because it seems hard to me.
I mean, the earlier you get into these the earlier you find these projects, the earlier you get into their Discord and start chatting and getting noticed, the better. Now, of course, what's to say that one project is going to become the invisible friends, right? The super hyped anticipated project. You just have to get good at figuring out, that it has a potential, it has the right recipe to become that. Get in early, get whitelisted by getting noticed, and then if it does, great. You just kind of won a lottery ticket, and if it doesn't,
okay. But I remember we did this together back in August, right? We were like trying to get into these Discords. We were trying to get under these contests. You'd have to like retweet it a bazillion times, and I never seemed to win. And even when I tried to get people into Discords, sometimes my referral links didn't work, and sometimes it didn't seem like they were counted. And I just ended up wasting a bunch of my time. So I would just say that in thinking about this, it's really hard for you to do all this work on your own. But if you find a researcher or alpha group that you have commonality with, you are interested in those kinds of projects that they are researching, that will help you to focus your effort, because there's only going to be exponentially more NFTs. And that means that if you throw a dart, your chances are probably going to be greater and greater that the thing is absolutely worthless. And it sucks to get screwed. And it takes so much time to prove that it's not. Number one, who's the team? What's the team? Team, right? Like it's always the value. Right, it's always about the team, because even if the idea needs to be tweaked, if it's a great team, they're going to make it better and they're going to make it valuable. They're not just going to turn it into a DAO and walk away and watch the value tank like Mutant Cats.
Well, so speaking of that, Mutant Cats, I was on the AMA for Mutant Cats the other night trying to figure out what exactly was going on, and them becoming a DAO was not actually intentional. I forget what I don't know what the backstory is exactly of why they did, but basically the original devs were basically walking away from the project, from what I understand, and a few people, probably from the community, basically were able to get the project back into their hands and basically into the hands of the community. So they say they are the first project to have basically taken the project back from the original devs and are fully decentralized and basically a DAO now. And
we want to thank all those folks for saving our behinds, because otherwise our JPEGs were going to be worthless forever. And it sounds like there could be a wind at our back in the future, because there was a DAO, there were cool cats in the vault. But here's what happened, right? The project boomed. It went really well. The mint went well. The trading went well. The price pumped. The developers got all excited. They had big bags of money. They kept looking at their big bag of money, and they realized they really didn't want to do the work. They just wanted the big bag of money. And it's really disappointing and disheartening, but there's a lot of that in crypto. And I listened to those guys and I trusted them. I listened to one guy he was a freaking nurse. I mean, I'm like, okay, this guy takes care of people for a living. He's not going to screw me. Well, guess what? They turned right around, looked at the bag of money, they picked it up, walked away, and said, screw you. And so, you really have to be careful about the teams. And here you go. Even these smart guys, they fooled me. I believed them when they said they were gonna, be into this project and make fish valuable and all that. And
yeah, so the fish token is probably gone forever. these mutant gorillas or mutants that were basically like a Gen 2 kind of are probably going to be worthless. What the devs want to do is salvage the brand of mutant cats because the art was cool.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was original, and it's a cool name, right? So there's a brand potential, and if they can, and they're not alone, right? The guys, I mean, this is a DAO now, so the community has to get behind the project for it to basically be salvaged. There's a few key people that are leading the charge on that, but it is a project that's worth looking into, right? If you want to get into a project, into a community, and that could really come back to life and have a real brand built around it. And if you want to help contribute, help build that and be a part of that, Mutant Cats is definitely something to look at. All right, let's wrapping it up here, so we don't go too long here. So I want to look at, I'm just going to read these out, right? And you can put these on your radar. Pixelverse is minting tomorrow. Public mint on the 3rd. Generative Dungeon is going to be big. Beings is today. Hype Bears, I think this is wrong. I think this is actually in March. So need to look at that. Astro Friends. This is also Ethereum.
So are you recommending these projects? Like, when you read these off to me, what are you telling me to do?
Well, I'm saying put these on your radar and look at these, because these are the ones, the flame ones are the ones that I'm saying are worth really putting on your radar and getting involved with.
So you've looked at these projects, you've determined that they're better than most. Like, so how many projects do you look at versus how many you end up tracking on your sheet here? What's the acceptance rate?
Well, through my research, the way I go about it from the get-go, I'm trying to pinpoint projects that some of the insiders are looking at, right? So developers that I'm following, project founders, and those, if they start, recommending projects, or if they start following projects, I can tell what projects they're following, and then I take a look at it. And what I look for is, do they have a small Twitter following, especially if they're new, right? Relatively small Twitter following with a high amount of notable followers.
Okay, which ones of these are you planning to mint for yourself or for
Pixelverse, Generative Dungeons, Crypto Monks? I'm whitelisted, but still,
well, that doesn't mean that doesn't mean if you should mint it or not. We want to know. Right. We want to know if you plan to mint it as of right now.
I'm planning to mint Pixelverse, Generative Dungeons, Jacked Apes, 2112 Run. After Death is a free mint, so I'm going to mint that because I'm whitelisted.
All right, so I'm going to flip over to my screen. I lost you for a second, so I'm going to move over. I did also want to talk about Renan Zen Academy, and this is one that we called Sunday. We called it. Hold
on, Zach. Let's finish.
Okay, yeah, we lost you for a minute, so we lost your stream. So
okay, well, so Gaming Ape Club is one that I'm definitely going to mint.
Okay.
Pirates of the Metaverse, if I can get whitelisted, I will be minting. Really cool project to take a look at. And these are kind of newer on the radar. So Chunks, I don't even know if Chunks has anything going on yet in terms of a Discord, but it's one of those coming soon type of anticipation launch. So worth taking a look at. And actually, let's just take a look real quick and see, do they have a Discord yet? Do they have anything showing yet? No, coming soon. Right, can't wait. Something's going on. This is interesting, right? Because they're already at 13,000 followers. So that anticipation, and then who is following these guys? Let's see. A few notable accounts.
So what you're doing is you're looking at a certain subset of people for alpha, then you're applying your rules to it. So you're kind of doing what we're talking about, because there's so much out there. And if you're just chasing somebody's tweets, I mean, minting now,
right. So
you're just going to get crushed.
Here are a few that I think are kind of worth looking at. This is the one I said, man, maybe I will get my son playing this game. Looks really cool. So
It does
this
look
is
cool.
it's original. The art's original. It's different looking. I mean, here, right? Play with it's
Well, it looks
kind
like
of
Roblox, so it's got a +1 there.
it's kind of like kind of like Roblox. I mean, he would get a real kick out of this.
Yep, they already know how to
And
play. I
so
already know how to play.
and he wants to get into building, right? He wants to start building his
Yes,
own
we need
game,
to be able to show our creativity in
right?
this metaverse.
So build and own your own. So awesome. If this is a platform that actually isn't too complicated for a 6.5, 7-year-old to start using to build, this would be great. I mean, if he's going to play games and that's what he likes to do,
They
which
like to
of
create.
course,
I love to see our creators creating
yeah.
next gen.
So
Not
that's
just playing a
one.
mindless game; they're building something, which is I
Yeah.
really love to see that.
So this is one I would definitely put on the radar, and I'm going to and track it. Another one that just kind of popped up: The Walking Dude. This looks like it's has some Doodles influence. Can't really tell, right? They're doing a good job here. A little Doodle influence, but again, this is a locked Discord, and they unlock it like this. They unlock it. Private Discord doors opening for a moment. That was 14 hours ago. Of course, it's closed. But this is probably going to do pretty well. And look, I mean, this is only from January. So they joined this account was created January. They've already got 15,000 followers. That's looking very promising. This one also. This is again not much information here, but I like this hit my radar too. So I would follow this one. And then this one is launching in March the 2nd or 4th on the International Women's Day. I like the art on this project, and
You're in it for the art.
Well, I do. I mean, I do like the art here. I like the artist. It fits the narrative.
Tell me about the team.
Well, it's a Sydney-based artist, right? Yasmin Shima. I've looked at the website. She's got an Instagram account, right? 34 days to mint. The community is building pretty organically. Everyone's pretty excited there. And again, this fits with that women-led NFT project narrative. And of course, the woman, she's an artist here. So, I mean, the artist is a woman here. And I think this is something that could do very well, especially when we look at the projects that have just minted now, like, is it Girlies or Girls? You've got Women of Crypto coming out tomorrow. Where is that? I'm looking at my other screen here. So this is Year of the Woman, yeah. And before that, I can't find it. Women of Crypto. Women of Crypto is minting, well, February. There's no date yet. But here, Women of Crypto. This one looks really interesting too. And they've got 79,200 users versus...
That's no joke.
Yeah, versus our Year of the Woman now, which is 4,543. So you're early here, right? You got plenty of time. You get in here, get noticed, get whitelisted, because if this becomes, the Year of the Woman one, I mean, the, where is it?
Discord.
Women in Crypto. If this becomes a Women in Crypto one, right, with 79,000 or more users, well, you'll have gotten whitelisted, and not a bad narrative to be in. So that's what I think I wanted to cover today, just to pinpoint a few projects, and I think we've done that.
Nice. I love it.
All right.
Well, it was great to talk to you, and appreciate the calls. Of course, for entertainment purposes only. It's never financial advice. And when we say do your own research, when people say that, it's because it's really a lot of work. And don't just buy on a quick second or a quick shill. Do some work. Make sure you know who the team is. Make sure you know something about them. Make sure
That's
you have some level of trust.
Here, right? We're trying to do some live research to show people kind of what we do on a daily basis. And honestly, invite people, who are watching the stream live, especially live, to ask about certain projects, and that way we can research all these things in real time.
Yeah, we'll both dive in and take a look and give our feedback. So that'd be a lot of fun. I'd enjoy that. So please like and subscribe and throw in a comment for us. We sure appreciate it. It does matter, and we'll keep bringing you more alpha. Until then, stay irresponsibly long.
All right.
Take care. See ya.